Welcome to the latest episode of On the Desk of Brian, an easygoing podcast where I explore a mix of my professional and personal interests. In today's episode, I look at skills being lost due to other technological advancements, competing chocolate companies, the NBA's in-season tournament, suggestions to declutter to be more productive, and much more. In my first article on the desk, Nisha Zahid from Greek Reporter writes about skills that are disappearing from the modern world. The article looked at how different types of technology advancement and automation are causing many traditional human skills to fade from everyday life. While digital tools improve efficiency and comfort, researchers warn that this shift erodes cultural knowledge, memory, and self-reliance. The disappearance of once common abilities, from cursive writing to reading analog clocks, illustrates a growing dependence on technology that may leave people less capable when digital systems fail. Some of the skills brought up include cursive writing, reading analog clocks, using physical maps, memorizing phone numbers, mental math, among others. For more details on why these skills are important to learn, even in the modern world, check out the article. The link is in the show notes. The next article I came across from The Conversation was written by John Haddad and explores the evolution of the Hershey Chocolate Company, especially spurred with their competition from the Mars Chocolate Company. In the article, Haddad noted that the various ways that the Hershey Company over its history had competed against the Mars Company. The article notes that early in Hershey's history, it only produced solid chocolate and even supplied Mars with chocolate coatings for its goods. However, Forrest Mars, the son of Mars' founder, desired to dethrone Hershey as the leader of chocolate companies in America, and as such, severed the relationship they had and built their own manufacturing capabilities, including having modern machinery, and even started advertising, something that neither company had done up to that point. Hershey responded by bringing in outside help in the form of MBA-trained executives who were focused in market research, public relations, computerized data systems, and for the first time in their history, a marketing department. They then acquired the Reese's Company and started airing television commercials in 1969. After, Hershey then looked inward at its theme park property. They reimagined the park as a Disney-style attraction and transformed it from being a small-town attraction to a regional destination for families on vacation. Check out even more of the details of the rivalry in the article. The link is in the show notes. Now we're switching on over to sports. The NBA season is back. While I'm invested in watching as many Phoenix Suns games as I can, I understand the majority of basketball fans do not become engaged in following their team or the league until around Christmas. As a way to combat that, the NBA a few years ago started an in-season tournament called the NBA Cup, or more officially known with its corporate sponsor, the Emirates NBA Cup. For those unfamiliar, Anand Sharma of Total Pro Sports has a useful article to explain how the NBA Cup works. Essentially, all 30 teams participate, with the 15 teams from both conferences being split into 3 groups. Each team then plays 4 games during group play, with 2 games at home and 2 on the road. 6 winners, which include the winner from each group, plus 2 wild cards, which are the best second-place winners from each conference, compete. Next comes single elimination quarterfinals, then the semifinals, followed by the finals, which are played at a neutral site, this season in Las Vegas. It's important to note that these NBA Cup games, with the exception of the championship game, count towards the regular season record. Something else interesting is the financial incentive for the players to do well in the tournament. Players on teams reaching the quarterfinals earn about $50,000 each, and that number increases to about $500,000 for each player on the championship team. While those payouts may not seem like a significant difference for some of the prominent stars, they can have a substantial impact on those who are on the bench and earning the league minimum. Moving on over into baseball and D-back news. Next up on my desk is an article by Terry Pluto writing for Cleveland.com. In the article, Terry looks at the impact that having no salary cap in Major League Baseball has on mid and small market teams. The article emphasizes that small market teams often feel they have no chance because they can't compete with the payrolls of the wealthiest clubs. Pluto points out that many World Series winners are among the highest paid teams. Currently, MLB doesn't have a strict salary cap, unlike leagues like the NFL or NBA. Besides a salary cap, there are a couple other measures that Pluto would like to see implemented. The first is a salary floor, which would require that each team spends at least a minimum amount and reduce the amount of the length of the contract lengths, criticizing 10 to 12-year guaranteed deals. Later in the article, Terry highlights the significance of perception. He goes on to explain that when fans perceive their team as financially incapable of competing, it diminishes their engagement. He emphasizes that the outcome of the game is not the sole factor, but also whether fans can realistically believe their team has a chance of winning. If Major League Baseball were to implement a hard cap or a similar measure, it could diminish the dominance of top spending teams and enhance the chances for mid and small market clubs to compete. However, the Players' Union is likely to oppose such a cap strongly, viewing it as a restriction on earnings and potentially a devaluation of their labor. With the current labor agreement ending after the 2026 season, we may see a possible demand for changes coming after next season. Moving on over to football and Packer news, it wasn't too long ago when the Packers were 5-1-1, but since then they lost a couple in a row. Statistically, the Packers were much more of a favorite, a 2-touchdown favorite to my recollection, against the Carolina Panthers, and they ended up losing it by 3 on a last-minute field goal. Then, the next week, in front of a national audience on Monday Night Football, they came up 3 points short again against the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. With that loss and wins by the Bears and the Lions this past weekend, the Packers went from leading the division from now being a half game out of being at the bottom. As of this recording, the Packers next take on the New York Giants, a team that has lost its breakout running back Cam Scatterbo for the season, and their quarterback Jackson Dart he's in concussion protocol. They also had relieved their head coach of his duties this past week. I'm hoping the offense can start to click like it did in the first couple games, as the Packers are heading into a tough stretch of the season against their division rivals. Next up in Arizona State University news, starting off in football, ASU had lost its star quarterback, Sam Leavitt, for the season due to injury. This is a big loss for ASU, as Leavitt was previously in the running before the season started as a potential Heisman Award contender. Backup quarterback Jeff Sims is now the starter. On my desk was an article also from Arizona Sports written by Payne Moses, who wrote about ASU still having a chance, though, to compete for the Big 12 championship game. Winning against Iowa State gave the Sun Devils their 6th win and makes them bowl eligible. If they don't end up going to and winning the Big 12 championship game, the pundits are predicting that ASU will compete in the Sun Bowl. Arizona State football's remaining schedule includes a home game against West Virginia, a game on the road at Colorado, and then coming back to Tempe to take on their arch rival Arizona on November 28th. I encourage you to read the article to get more in-depth understanding of what ASU's wins and losses against these teams may mean for its chances of repeating as Big 12 champion. Changing gears over to Arizona State basketball, Arizona Sports picked up an Associated Press story previewing the season. In it, they discussed that Coach Bobby Hurley likely needs a successful season to earn a contract extension. The article also noted ASU's need to improve defensively, as last year they were 15th out of 16 in defensive rankings. There is only one scholarship player returning this season, Trevor Best, but the Sun Devils are bringing in several other players to watch this season, including Mo Odom, Asante Holloman, Marcus Adams Jr., Alan Mukiba, and Massama Diop. Another interesting addition to the team this year is Bobby Hurley Jr., the coach's son, who transitioned from a player last year to the team's director of analytics and strategy. Today's episode of From the Desk of Brian is not brought to you by Analog Life, because when Wi-Fi is down, so are your survival skills. At Analog Life, we believe in empowering the modern human to relearn the ancient arts, like cursive writing, mental math, and reading something called a map. Why rely on GPS when you could confidently unfold a 3-foot accordion of paper, turn it upside down twice, and still end up in the wrong state? Our patented skill reclamation program also includes memorizing your best friend's phone number, just in case your contacts app ghosts you. Reading an analog clock for when your smartwatch dies at 23% battery. And the lost art of waiting patiently without scrolling. But we don't stop there. Analog Life proudly partners with the Hershey Mars Institute of Competitive Sweetness, teaching you that even 100-year-old chocolate companies can reinvent themselves with a marketing team, a theme park, and a midlife identity crisis. And for our sports fans, sign up today and you'll receive free participation medal from the Emirates NBA Cup, redeemable for up to $50,000 if you can make a layup and aren't earning a league minimum. Small market baseball teams, don't worry. Analog Life also offers emotional support hotlines for fans of payroll-challenged franchises because hope, like your team's bullpen, is not salary capped. So whether you're a cursive writing chocoholic, a stats-obsessed coach's son, or a Packers fan just trying to remember what winning feels like, remember, Analog Life, reconnecting humans to the skills they accidentally outsourced to technology. And of course, they're not a sponsor. If they were, I'd finally know how to fold that map correctly. Thank you, ChatGPT, for today's Not a Sponsor segment. Next up on my desk is an article written by Lauren Thoman, found on Real Simple. The article discusses a strategy to become more productive by decluttering through the worst first strategy. The strategy suggests that if you want to declutter, you should consider taking on the messiest, most intimidating area first. It aligns with the idea that you should take on the hardest task so that everything after feels easier to accomplish. In preparation for this technique, Lauren Thoman suggests that you should prepare yourself before taking on this task. You need to make sure to have a realistic plan of blocking out time and including time to take breaks to prevent burnout. Secondly, it's important to prepare yourself emotionally ahead of time so that you can deal with aspects related to discarding items of sentimental value. Thoman believes that using this type of technique can have numerous benefits besides the decluttering itself. Some of these benefits include strengthening decision-making, making with the most difficult decisions first. It allows for later decisions to be less difficult. And secondly, having visible progress can give people something tangible to create momentum. The show notes include a link to the article to read more ways of the worst first method that may be useful to you. Mac Rumors in the technology section is our next article. It was an article written by Joe Rossignol, and it's about a very useful feature update in the recently released iOS 26.1. That update while simple, can make a world of difference from accidentally sleeping in. iOS 26.1 brings in a slide to stop gesture to stop an alarm, replacing the stop button previously in its place. With the previous stop button, one could accidentally dismiss an alarm rather than clicking the snooze option. The result of that could make you late to get up, perhaps making you late to an appointment or work. If it does look familiar, the slide gesture was used as an option to unlock the phones from 2007 to 2016. And finally, today in entertainment, Dylan Butts wrote our next article found on CNBC. In his article, Dylan discussed how the streaming cable provider YouTube TV, which is owned by Google, is currently unable to show any of the Disney-owned networks, which include notably ABC and ESPN. Disney is accusing YouTube TV of refusing to pay what it considers fair rates for its content. YouTube TV is arguing that Disney is using blackout threats to force deal terms that would raise prices. Of course, this is all occurring in the middle of both the college football and NFL seasons, putting millions of customers out of the ability to cheer on their teams. In thinking about motivations of Disney and Google to resolve this dispute, I thought about how Disney's ownership of Hulu, which also provides a live streaming cable option known as Hulu Live. In addition, something else crossed my desk, and that was that merger of Hulu Live and Fubo. Alex Wiepren wrote an article for MovieWeb where he discussed the details of that merger and its implications. Essentially, the combined company will have a total of about 6 million subscribers, and for the time being, the services are offered as separate consumer offerings. However, this is my opinion. When you consider the story earlier about YouTube TV losing ESPN and ABC, both Disney-owned channels, one may consider that with Disney owning its own streaming cable network, it may not necessarily be in a hurry to have potential customers on a competing service. As of this recording, YouTube TV customers still cannot access those channels. So that wraps up another episode of On the Desk of Brian. If you liked what you heard today, please be sure to follow and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. If you want to find me between episodes, I'm often found on Mac Voices Live, which records on Tuesday evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Please visit my website, brian8944.com, so you can keep up with all my ongoing and upcoming projects. You can also contact me there with any feedback you may have. So until next time, so long for now.